So I asked myself, do my ragamuffins know how to round a number to the nearest 10 or 100? In today's lesson, you're going to learn three things. Firstly, how to locate and label a number on a number line. Secondly, how to recognize which multiples of 10 and 100 between which it sits. And the third thing is to select the multiple to which it is closer or to which it's rounded. Let's jump in. This table shows us the number of people that are presently on the Rancho Santa Fe Country Club. There are two columns, one giving us the precise number of people, and the second one that is blank is the estimation to the nearest 10. The objective here is to find the total of each one. We're going to add the precise number, get the sum of the estimates, and then we're going to decide if the estimate is actually reasonable by tracking the difference from the estimate. And as close as that number is to 0, that's going to let us know if the estimate is actually helpful and reasonable. The first piece of data that we're going to examine is the fact that there are 46 people golfing, and then we're going to look at the 3 people in the pro shop, and finally, we're going to look at the tennis court. How many people are playing tennis? We'll round each of these to the nearest 10, and you will finish the rest of them on your own. I'll also do it, and you can check back and see if your answer was correct. 46 is the number we're going to examine first. I look at the tens place, and I see that it's 4. So my lower 10 on the number line is going to be 40. 10 more than that, the next multiple of 10 up is 50. I know that the number 46 is somewhere between 40 and 50. And my objective is to find out the one to which it is closer. Which one is it nearer? I'm going to label here my midpoint, which is 45. I know 45 is halfway between 40 and 50. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Placing 46 means I just go one spot beyond 45. Now I have to compare the distance from the point 46, 1, 2, 3, 4, to each of the multiples of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Obviously, the number 46 is closer to 50. This tells us that 46 is about or approximately 50 when I'm rounding it to the nearest 10. The pro shop has 3 people in it. Since there is 0 in the tens place, I know that my number line is going to start with a 0, and then the next multiple of 10 up is going to be 10. Now, I have to be honest, this is a little confusing because some people might say 0 is not a multiple of 10, but then 0 groups of 10 is 0, so it is. I have to decide what's the midpoint. The midpoint of my number line is 5, halfway between 0 and 10. Where is my number 3? The number 3 is going to have a point that is 3 units away from 0. 1, 2, 3. Clearly, 1, 2, 3 units away from 0 and 7 units away from 10 means that 0 is the multiple of 10 to which 3 rounds. 3 is about 0 groups of 10. So 0 is the answer. There were 35 people playing tennis. There's a 3 in the tens place, which means I'm going to label my number line beginning with 30 and ending with 40. Now you may notice that the arrows on the number line let us know that it goes on forever in both directions. We have just zoomed in to the part of the number line that is useful. And if I'm rounding to the nearest 10, what concerns me are the multiples of 10 that are lower and higher than the number that I'm trying to find. I notice right away when I decide to label my number line, the midpoint, it's the same as 35. So I'm going to put a big, nice dot right there, plot the point exactly where it belongs. Here's the issue: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is equally far away or equally near both multiples of 10. So, as mathematicians, we just had to agree that if the number is halfway or more, we will round up. Halfway or more, we round up. This means that 35 rounds to 40. Filling in the chart so far, 46 rounds to 50, 3 rounds to 0, and 35 rounds to 40. You're going to pause the video now, write number lines for each of the 4 remaining categories, and then come on back and check and see if we both chose the same answers. Eight rounds to 10, 12 also rounds to 10, 17 rounds to 20, and 83 rounds to 80. Let's go ahead and fill in the charts. About 50 people were playing golf. The pro shop was practically empty, and about 40 people were hitting the tennis ball. At the driving range, there were about 10 people. On the putting green, 10 people practicing their putting, about 80 people eating, and there were 20 people swimming. When we get the total, I hope that the precise number total is close to the estimate. If not, the estimation will be worthless, just a waste of time. When I get the sum of the precise number, I end up with 204. Let's check and see what the total is going to be for the estimation. I can start by putting a 0 in the ones place because I know that all multiples of 10 end in 0. And for the tens, let's just count how many tens there are. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7, plus 8 is 15, 15 plus 4 is 19, 19 plus 2 is 21, meaning that there are 210 people according to the estimation. Well, if our estimate was 210 and our precise number was 204, this means that there was only a difference of 6 away from my precise number to my estimate, making my estimate extremely important and useful because it's just easier to add rounded numbers in my head. and it gave me a very good idea about how many people were actually on the country club. So now we're going to zoom in on the pro shop, one of my favorite places. Well, not really, but actually it is. You can tell from the prices of the items here, this is a place where you can spend a lot of money. The main thing we're going to be looking at that's different is we're estimating to the nearest 100, whereas previously we were looking at rounding to the nearest 10. We're going to start off by taking a look at some golf shoes for $146 and also a hat for $35 and then a hoodie for $169. You know what? This better be one comfortable hoodie for $169. The hoodie costs $146. Remember, we're rounding to the nearest hundred. The digit in the hundreds place is a 1, which means I start with 100 as the low end of my interval. The next 100 up is 200. I'm not counting by tens here, I'm counting by hundreds. However, each of these smaller intervals, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, this means my midpoint is 150. And then I can continue 150, 160, 70, 80, 90, 200, okay? Intervals of 10. When I take a look at 146, you know what? It might be clearer if I change this color to blue. So, where does 146 go? Well, the tens place shows a 4, which means it's 140 something. This number is almost 150. And since my intervals are by tens, watch this: 110, 120, 130, 140. Halfway between 140 and 150 is 145. 146 is just to the other side of it. My decision now has to be which 100 is 146 closer to. Well, being that this is the halfway mark and it's on the left side of the halfway mark, 146 is closer to 100 than it is to 200, which means that 146 is about 100. That hoodie is about $100. The hat costs $35. If I look at the hundreds place, hello, there's nothing there, which means I'm going to start at 0, and my next multiple of 100 up is 100. Remember, I am counting by tens. Midway between 0 and 100 is 50. I need to find out where 35 is. I'm going to count by tens from 0, 10, 20, 30, 40. 35 is halfway between 30 and 40 because it is on the left side or lower side of the midpoint. I know that I'm going to round to the 0. 35 is closer to 0. It's 65 away from 100. And again, it's a strange thing to say that it rounds to 0, but it's about nothing. Think about that hoodie. A hat is practically free when you compare it to the other things in that pro shop. One more item to practice. 100 and, wait a second. This is my hoodie. Before, I was working with some golf shoes. Guys, golf shoes are super important. I walk when I play. I'm willing to spend a bunch of money on some comfortable shoes. There is nothing worse than getting home and thinking, my dog's a barking. Okay, 169 has a 1 in the hundreds place, which means I have to start with 100. And the next interval up is 200. The next multiple of 100 up is 200. I have to figure out my midpoint. My midpoint is 50 more than 100, 150. If I'm going to decide where does 169 go, I'm going to start with 150, 160, 170. 169 is right on the inside of that. And as I said before, since it's on the right side, it has to round to 200. 169 is about $200 if I am rounding to the nearest hundred. 169 is about 200. There we go. Fill out the rest of them and then come on back and check and see. Hopefully, we agree. The putter costs $216, golf balls $55, a driver $578. Hello. And of course, the golf polo. You got to look good. $121. Like, are you comfortable sweating in a shirt that's $121? Maybe not. 216 rounds to 200. $55 golf balls. These are probably Pro V1s. Yum. All right, so 55 has a 0 in the hundreds place. 100 is the next 100 up. I have to list my midpoint, which is 50. 55 is going to be just on the other side of 50. And as a result, I already know the answer, and you probably do too. This is 60, so 55 is going to be right there. And because it's on the right side of the midway point, it's going to round to 100. I can write 55 is about 100. $578 driver. I mean, you have to just really love this game in order to spend as much money as you need to. 500 is the low hundreds, and 600 is the high one because there's a 5 in the hundreds place. The midpoint is going to be 550. I need to figure out where 578 is. I'm going to start from 550, 560, 570, 580. 578 is just on the inside of that. Clearly, 578 rounds to 600. 578 is about $600. Boy, and once you add tax, that $600 is going to come really fast. And last but not least, $121 beautiful polo. That thing must be so comfortable. 121 has a 1 in the hundreds place. My lower interval is 100. The next multiple up is 200. 150 is my midpoint. I have to choose, where does 121 go? 100, 110, 120, right on the other side. 121 is definitely rounding to $100. 121 is approximately $100. Let's fill in the chart, get the totals, and compare the precise number, the precise sum, to the sum of the estimates. The putter rounded to 200. The golf balls rounded to 0. Free they were not, however. The driver rounded to 600, and the golf polo rounded to 100. When we get the sum of the estimates, I know I'm going to have 2 zeros here. Why? Because hundreds end in 2 zeros, and I'm rounding to the nearest hundred. I'm just going to add the sum here. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. Plus 1 is 12. Hello, I have just spent $1,200 in the pro shop. What am I going to tell my wife? The sum of the precise numbers is 1,320. When I compare the precise answer, 1,320, to my estimate of 1,200 or 1,200, admittedly, I do get a significant difference of $120. Now, you might be saying $120, that's far away. Your estimate of 1,200 is $120 away from 1,320. Does that mean my estimation is useful? Well, absolutely. It's still relatively close to my precise number. And in truth, when I took a look at these numbers, I rounded down here from 146 to 100. I rounded down. I rounded down here, down again, up there, down, down. And because I rounded down so many more times than I rounded up, it resulted in a difference of 120. But quite frankly, I still know that I've spent far too much in the pro shop, whether I'm spending 1,200 or only $120 more. I better have an answer when my wife says, "So, what happened to the $1,320?" Why do you care about this anyway? Well, for one, rounded numbers are easier to work with. So you can check the reasonableness of your answer by simply adding the estimated numbers. It'll let you have a little more confidence about whether the work that you did was correct or not. The second reason is because of mental math. Rounded numbers are just easier to carry in your head and carry out whatever operations you need. Hope that helps. Good luck.
I hop in the Porsche, 5 and a horse, I'm ready for war. I'm coming for throats to turn to a ghost. I need to know everything.